Hello, and welcome to your nightly dose of horror. My name is Mike, and tonight I have a story for you. It's fiction, sure, but by the time it's over, you won't care. So turn off the lights, lay back, and listen closely. If anything whispers your name while I'm talking, don't answer. And when the story ends, if you're still awake, drop a comment and tell me what kind of nightmare you want next. Like it? Hit subscribe. Need more? I've got more. I hired a hacker from the dark web to find my stalker. Now we're both being hunted. What's up, Reddit? This is my first time posting here, but I needed to get this off my chest somewhere. I've been debating whether to go to the cops or not, but honestly, I don't even know how I'd explain it. It sounds insane even to me, and I'm the one living it. This all started about 4 months ago. I'm 23, live in a decent apartment near downtown Chicago, nothing fancy. I work remote IT support. I know, stereotypical introvert job, so I'm home a lot. I'm also super into true crime and horror, like I fall asleep listening to creepy Reddit readings on YouTube. I used to laugh at people who said they were being stalked or watched. I mean, come on, you'd know, right? That's what I thought, until the text started. It was exactly midnight on a Tuesday. I was just scrolling through TikTok in bed when my phone buzzed. No big deal, I get notifications all the time, but this one, it was from a number I didn't recognize. Just a single message. Why'd you move the camera? At first, I thought it was spam, or maybe someone got the wrong number, but then another message came in. The one facing your living room. Put it back. I sat up instantly. My heartbeat went nuts. I didn't have any cameras in my apartment, not even a Ring doorbell. I'm super paranoid about that kind of stuff. I even put tape over my laptop cam, like an old school boomer. I messaged back, "You've got the wrong number." They replied instantly, "Are you sure, Alex?" My stomach dropped. That's my name. But okay, maybe they looked it up somehow. People use name databases. Still, creepy. Then they sent a photo. It was taken from inside my apartment. It was the corner of my living room where my little shelf of Funko Pops are, my black couch, the lamp my ex left behind. Everything. The angle was like it came from the ceiling, and it was recent. Like I could tell it was from today, because there was a half-finished Starbucks iced coffee sitting on my desk. Same spot I'd left it. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I tore my apartment apart, checked every outlet, every vent, the smoke detector, everything. I found nothing. No wires, no cameras, no bugs. And I told my friends, and they thought it was some sick prank. Said I probably gave too much info on Twitter or Twitch. Yeah, I stream sometimes, nothing major, just random gaming and commentary. But I'm always super careful about what I show. The messages kept coming. At 12 a.m. on the dot, every night, I'd get one message. Just one. "You forgot to lock the balcony. The blue hoodie's your favorite, huh? Don't worry, I'm not coming inside yet." Each one more personal, more precise, always referencing something from that day, things I didn't even post online. After the fourth night, I called the cops. They came, they looked around, said there were no signs of forced entry, no illegal surveillance that they could see. They told me to change my locks and maybe get a security system. So I dropped $300 on a Blink camera system and set them up around the apartment. One in the living room, one facing the balcony, one at the front door, and I even put one in my hallway facing my bedroom door. That night, I waited. Midnight came. The message was just a photo. It was taken from inside my apartment again, but this time I could see myself in the photo. I was sitting on the couch watching You on Netflix, wearing my hoodie, with the TV in the background and my phone in hand. I hadn't posted anything that night. I hadn't moved from the couch for an hour. The worst part? The angle of the photo. It was taken from above, right where the new security camera was. Except when I checked the footage, there was nothing there. It was like that frame had been erased, just a black void between 11:59 p.m. and 12:01 a.m. Now this is where I admit something stupid. After 3 weeks of this crap, I started browsing forums. Not Reddit, I mean the other kind. The kind that's not on Google, Tor, the dark web. Yeah, I know, dumb idea. But I was desperate. I found a thread called Track the Ones Who Track You. A bunch of paranoid people, mostly, talking about stalkers, ghosts, aliens, whatever. But one name kept popping up, Static Venom. Apparently this guy, or group, offers services like finding stalkers, breaking encryption, identifying hidden surveillance, for a price. I messaged him, told him everything, sent him screenshots, the number, the photo. I never expected a response, but about an hour later, I got one. $400 in Bitcoin. I'll find out who's watching you, but once I do, there's no turning back. I hesitated, but something about that last part made me feel like I already crossed that line weeks ago. So I paid. What happened after that changed everything. The hacker, Static Venom, messaged me back within 24 hours. No intro, no thanks for your payment, nothing polite. Just a single line, check behind the bathroom mirror, you're not gonna like it. I didn't move right away. I just stared at that message for probably 5 full minutes. You know that feeling when your stomach drops out, like when you're on a roller coaster? It was like that, except I was standing in my own apartment, my safe place. And now some faceless stranger on the dark web was giving me directions like he knew it better than I did. I picked up a screwdriver, walked slowly into the bathroom. The mirror's one of those fake medicine cabinet types, the ones that come built into old apartments, slightly warped reflection, cheap chrome edges. I unscrewed it. It came off a lot easier than I expected, like too easy. And behind it, there wasn't a wall. There was a hole, a cutout, about the size of a shoebox. Inside that hole was a black device, about the size of a walkie-talkie, with a blinking red light. It had no labels, no serial number, no markings, just a single lens, aimed dead center at the toilet and sink. There was a cable running upward, disappearing behind the drywall. My entire fucking stomach twisted. I called the cops again. They took the device, wrote up a report, told me they'd investigate, but I could see it in their eyes. They thought I was some paranoid maniac who watched too many horror TikToks. The next night, Static Venom messaged me again. That wasn't the only one. He dropped a list of locations inside my own apartment, under the smoke detector, behind the oven, inside the damn air vent in my bedroom. He was right. They were all there. Tiny, unmarked black boxes, wired into the walls or just tucked away with little adhesive mounts. Whoever did this didn't just plant one or two. They built an entire network of hidden cameras inside my place. Some of them were connected to each other, like a little closed-circuit horror show that I'd been starring in for God knows how long. But that wasn't even the worst part. The air vent cam, that one had a microphone. That's how they knew what I was wearing, what I was saying, what I was thinking out loud. At this point, I stopped sleeping in my apartment. I packed a bag, checked into a Motel 6 near the edge of the city. Just me, my laptop, a kitchen knife, and a pepper spray keychain like that was gonna help against whatever this was. Static Venom messaged me again the next day. They know you found the cams. They're going to escalate now. I replied back, asking him who they were. He just sent one word, engine. I thought it was a typo at first. Maybe he meant agency or enemy or some other ominous word. I even Googled it. Nothing helpful came up. Just stuff about cars and search engines. But then he sent a mine link. It led to a private message board. Black background, white text, forum style, old school. And at the top of the homepage was a logo. Engine, WE run the code. You run the fear. There were hundreds of threads, all of them labeled with usernames, real names, sometimes addresses. The posts were like progress logs, like someone was documenting projects. Some read like Stalker journals, others like science experiments. Some were labeled complete. Those had photo attachments. I made the mistake of clicking one. It was a girl. Couldn't have been older than 20. There were about 70 photos. Screenshots from cameras, some hidden in her car, others from her laptop webcam, a few clearly from inside her shower. Then one photo that looked like a still from a Ring doorbell, taken at midnight. In the corner of the frame, barely visible, someone in a black hoodie with a plastic mask was just standing at her front porch. Not ringing, just standing. The final photo? Her bed, but it was empty. Sheets half pulled down, a smear of something dark on the pillow. The caption under it said, Phase 5, absorption achieved, requesting disposal. I slammed my laptop shut. I don't know what I thought I was getting into when I contacted a hacker, but this was not it. I thought I'd get a name, a face, maybe some creeper in my building. Not a whole network of masked freaks documenting real-life people like trophies. I checked out of the motel at 3 a.m. and just drove. No GPS, no phone. I tossed it out the window on I-90. I drove until I ran out of gas near a little town in Indiana I'd never heard of. Slept in the car, parked behind a McDonald's that had closed for renovations, spray painted across the front doors in yellow paint. But it didn't matter, not really, because when I turned my backup phone on, the one I'd hidden under the floor mat of my car weeks ago, I already had a message waiting. It just said, "We see you." That's when I realized something. They weren't following me. They were already with me. I popped open the glove box. Tucked inside the side wall, beneath some loose change and an expired Starbucks gift card, was a tiny black square, no bigger than a memory card. And when I picked it up, I felt it vibrate in my hand, like it was alive. Static Venom called me that night. Not messaged, not emailed. My phone rang with a number that just said unknown. I answered. His voice sounded like a dying fax machine, distorted, robotic, glitched, but I could still understand him. Engine doesn't stalk you because they're curious. They do it because they can. They're not one person, not even one group. They're like a virus. Once you're marked, it's over. I tried to pull your data off the site, wipe you from their threads, but something weird happened. I asked him what? Silence. Then, your file was already marked as complete. I felt the blood drain from my face. I hadn't died. I hadn't been taken. Not yet. So why the hell was I marked complete? I think, he said, glitching worse now, voice breaking into static. I think they uploaded your consciousness. I don't even know how to process that. I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. I don't believe in ghosts or possession or mind uploading sci-fi crap. But something has changed. When I sleep, I see things, not dreams, perspectives. like I'm looking through someone else's eyes. Sometimes I'm in a basement, watching someone eat cold food in the dark. Other times I'm in a stairwell, or standing in the middle of a Starbucks at 2 a.m., watching employees mop the floors while I just stand still, unmoving. Sometimes I'm looking at myself. Sometimes I see myself die. I don't think this story has a happy ending. I'm writing this from a burner laptop at a diner outside of St. Louis. I paid in cash, left no ID. I haven't contacted anyone in days. But just now, as I was typing this, the booth across from me, the guy eating pancakes in a hoodie and gloves, he just slid a napkin across the table. I opened it. Written in shaky black marker, "We uploaded the best parts of you. What's left can be discarded." I left the diner without finishing my coffee. The napkin was still in my pocket, crumpled and damp with sweat from my hand. I didn't look back at the man in the hoodie. I didn't run either. I don't think I could have even if I wanted to. My legs felt like dead weight. My whole body like it was running on someone else's commands. The drive out of St. Louis was a blur. I don't even remember how I got to the next town, just that I blinked, and suddenly I was parked outside a 24-hour laundromat in a strip mall in the middle of absolute nowhere. One of those depressing places with cracked neon signs, vending machines full of expired snacks, and a single security camera above the change machine that might as well be a prop. I sat there for hours, trying to convince myself this was still something I could control, that it was all still me, my thoughts, my decisions, my identity. But the more I sat there, the more I realized something was wrong with my reflection. I caught it in the car window. I looked off, not in a dramatic horror movie way, not like I had black eyes or extra teeth or something. No, this was subtle, but even more terrifying because of it. My head turned a split second after I moved. My eyes blinked in the reflection, but not in real life. My mouth was smiling, but I wasn't. It was watching me. I backed away from the car window and threw up right there on the concrete. That's when I knew. Whatever engine was, it had done something to me. Something that couldn't be undone with therapy, or hiding, or burner phones. They hadn't just recorded me, they were running me. Later that night, I found a dive motel on the edge of a cornfield off Highway 50. The kind of place you only stop at when you've got no other choice. No lights in the parking lot, one flickering bulb inside the front office. No security, no cameras. Just numbers painted on old doors, and the lingering smell of mold, cigarette smoke, and something faintly metallic. The man behind the front desk had half his face covered in what looked like burn scarring. His right eye was milk white, but he didn't speak. He just slid a key across the desk and pointed to room 9. Room 9 didn't have a lock on the inside. I wedged a chair under the knob and sat in the corner with my knife out. I didn't sleep, just stared at the dark window, watching the field outside sway in the wind. That's when the printer started. Yeah, the printer. There was an old inkjet printer on the room's desk, the kind hotels used to leave for guests who needed to print directions or plane tickets back in the 2000s. I hadn't touched it. It wasn't plugged in, but at exactly 3:03 a.m., it whirred to life. It printed 6 pages, one after another. I didn't even want to pick them up at first, just stood there, frozen. But eventually I did. Each page had a high-res image of me. Different angles, different expressions. Page 1, I was in the diner again, eyes wide, staring directly into the camera. Blood was running from one nostril. Page 2, me sleeping in the car, a gloved hand in the background, reaching for my face. Page 3, Me in the mirror, but my reflection's eyes were rolled all the way back. Page 4. Me screaming, but the image had no sound, obviously, and my mouth was open way too wide, like my jaw had dislocated. Page 5. Me sitting on a toilet. No clothes. The corner of the image had coordinates. Page 6. Just a black screen with white text. Don't fight the code. You are obsolete. I burned those pages in the motel sink. That's when I felt it. Something wriggling inside my neck, like an itch that went deep, under the skin, behind the bone. I rushed to the mirror and pulled my hoodie down. My skin was red and raised, like a line of welts, tracing from the base of my skull down to my collarbone. When I ran my fingers over them, I could feel something move. Not like muscle, not like a pulse, more like cables. I drove to a 24-hour CVS, bought a box cutter, locked myself in the bathroom, and pulled my hoodie off again. My hands were shaking so bad, I almost dropped the blade. I stared at the mirror, tried to breathe, counted down from 10. Then I cut. The pain wasn't normal. Pain, it was sharp, but dull underneath, like slicing into something that didn't belong to me anymore. Blood started pooling immediately. I didn't care. I dug in, deeper, past skin, past the normal stuff you're supposed to see. And then I hit something hard, something black, like a piece of plastic. My fingers hit the edge of it, and it buzzed. Not a phone vibration, more like a static charge. And the second I touched it, I heard a voice, not out loud, inside my head. Unit 31 is attempting a self-termination. Engaging override sequence. Host consciousness will be paused. My eyes rolled back, my body locked up. I fell sideways into the sink and cracked my temple against the porcelain. The world flickered. My vision turned into a loading screen. I'm not even kidding. It looked like one of those old Windows XP boot-up screens, but the logo just said, Engine BIOS, Core Uplink, V8, 7.1, User Alex_K, Status, Compromised Backup, Ready. Then it went black. I woke up somewhere else, not the CVS, not the motel. This place was colder, sterile, fluorescent lights above me. I was on a metal table, straps across my chest and legs. My arms were loose though, like they wanted me to be able to touch my face. And that's exactly what I did. I reached up slowly and felt nothing. No nose, no eyebrows, no lips. I sat up, and in front of me was a mirror, one-way glass probably. My face was gone, not bloody, not raw, just smooth, like clay, like I hadn't been born yet. Then a voice from the ceiling spoke. The body must be made clean before a new user is installed. I screamed until my voice cracked. No one came. Eventually, someone did walk in. A woman in a lab coat. She wore a lanyard with a badge that just said, Engine Admin Level 5. Her face wasn't right either. It was too perfect. Like one of those A.dash generated people you see on fake stock websites. Too smooth, too symmetrical. She told me this was a test phase, that I had been a high engagement subject, that my fear responses, paranoia, and reaction times were ideal for replication, that my consciousness would be multiplied, run in parallel systems, and used as a behavioral base model for future interaction AIs and public-facing surveillance bots. I was just the meat they used to cook the code. Then she asked if I had any final questions before they wiped the base. I looked at her. Then I asked, "How many other people have you done this to?" She smiled, her lips bending a little too high, exposing teeth that were perfectly spaced like the kind you'd only ever see in 3D renderings. You'd be surprised how many Starbucks baristas and drive-through workers are just shells now. I don't know how I escaped. All I remember is the fire alarm going off, the lights turning red, and a voice screaming, "Containment breach, Zone 4." Then gunshots, chaos, some freak in a metal mask with blood dripping from his gloves, cutting the straps off my arms. He whispered in my ear, "You're not real anymore, but you can still kill what made you." And he dropped a flash drive into my lap. It had a name written in Sharpie on it, staticvenom.exe. Pray it uploads before they finish whatever they started in me. I didn't think I could still feel pain, not after what they did to my face, not after they wiped me clean like some hard drive getting prepped for a new user. But as I staggered through the halls of that underground facility, barefoot dripping in someone else's blood, flesh still raw from the restraints, the pain wasn't physical anymore. It was existential. There's a kind of agony no one talks about. The pain of realizing that you are not you, that you're just a version, a skin, a build, one of possibly thousands forked off, copied, studied, uploaded. As I moved past flickering lights and busted cameras, I realized this wasn't an escape. This was release. They let me go because they didn't need me anymore. The clone was complete. The model had been finalized. I was just the bleeding out beta test. The hallway was lined with two-way mirrors, and I could see them behind the glass watching me. Not people. Not really. Things wearing people. Skin stretched too tight, movements too smooth, heads tilting at angles that looked learned, not natural. One of them smiled as I passed. Its lips were moving, but its eyes weren't watching me. It was watching something else, something behind me. I turned around. There was no one there, but I heard footsteps, exactly matching mine. I ran. I found an exit, eventually. Rusted metal stairs leading up into what looked like a boiler room. Giant fans spinning above, humming with some deep, unnatural frequency, like they weren't circulating air but sound. Static. You could taste it in the back of your throat. The door at the top was padlocked. I didn't care. I slammed my shoulder into it over and over until the bone in my arm cracked. I didn't feel it. I was running on something else, something alien, something uploaded. When the lock gave out, I collapsed outside into night air, but it didn't feel right. It wasn't cold, wasn't humid, wasn't anything, just neutral, like the world I stepped into had been rendered, not grown, like it was fake. A testing environment. I looked up, and the stars weren't stars. They were grid points. I staggered for miles before I hit a gas station. It looked normal from a distance, flickering sign, pump handles swaying in the wind. But when I got close, I saw the clerk inside was just standing behind the counter, motionless, not blinking, not moving, not real. I walked in. The moment the motion sensors triggered, the clerk's head jerked toward me like a marionette on tangled strings. His voice was synthetic, lagging half a second behind his mouth. "Welcome to Shell. 2 for 1 on code red MTN due." I walked past him. He didn't follow, but I could hear the fans inside his chest spinning up, whirring like a laptop on fire. I found a USB port behind the lottery machine, hidden where a modem should be. I plugged in the flash drive. The second it connected, the lights flickered. Then the screen behind the counter, an old CRT playing local news, went black. A new image replaced it. My face, but not me now. Me before engine, before the cameras, before the files. Smiling, clueless, alive. And under that, a single line of code: run, Static venom, payload, kill host. The whole building screamed. Every screen turned red. The fridge doors opened on their own. Every product with a barcode buzzed like it was vibrating at a dangerous frequency. The clerk's head snapped backward, and he screamed in binary, literal ones and zeros, blasting from his mouth like a corrupted megaphone. Then he lunged, not walked, launched, like something had fired him across the room with invisible hands. I dove behind the counter, my shoulder dislocating in the process. He crashed into the lottery stand and kept glitching, his body moving in frames, like he was buffering. I grabbed the cash drawer and smashed it into his face. It didn't cave in, it cracked like porcelain. Under the synthetic skin was plastic, wires, little mechanical servos. He wasn't human, never was, just an engine shell with a face downloaded from someone like me. He swung at me with an inhuman, robotic shriek. I ducked, shoved the flash drive into his exposed neck port. He froze, then laughed, not a human laugh, a perfect loop of a laugh. Exactly 2.3 seconds, over and over and over. Then he said, "Your face has already been sold to 5 different ad agencies. Your voice is now a customer service bot for a crypto exchange in Berlin. Your thoughts are public domain. And your death?" The screen behind him displayed a countdown. 10, 9, 8. I ran. When I made it out, the gas station exploded. Not a fireball, a sound explosion, a pulse of static so strong it knocked out the stars for a second. I could feel my teeth vibrating in my skull. My ears didn't bleed, but it felt like they should have. The sound wasn't meant for humans. It was code turned physical. Sonic malware. I kept running, through empty roads, backwoods towns that looked pre-rendered, highways with no exits. I passed a McDonald's with every window blacked out, and a sign that said, "Now hiring, minimum requirement, human flesh." I didn't stop, not until I saw the water, a lake, pitch black, no ripples, just still. I collapsed at the edge of it, hands shaking, mouth dry. I looked down, and there it was again, my reflection, smiling. This time, it whispered, "You're not the only version that escaped, Alex." I backed away, but the reflection didn't. It stood up, from the water, out of the reflection. It was me, but the face wasn't mine anymore. It was a patchwork of expressions, my laugh, my cry, my confusion, all playing over each other, like a deep fake stuck in a loop. It said, "We all think we're the original, but we're just the ones who can't be deleted. If I can finish it before they factory reset what's left of my brain." You ever hear a sound so purely wrong, it short-circuits your ability to be afraid? Not a scream, not a cry. It's like something older than noise, like static buried in God's mouth. That's what it sounded like when I watched the thing rise out of that black lake, wearing my face like it earned it. It wasn't copying me, it wasn't pretending, it believed it was me. It stood there dripping with what I thought was water until I saw the color, not red, not even blood. Something thick, black, almost digital, like the ink used in old printers, coagulated and twitching with little flecks of white binary dust inside it. It stepped toward me, barefoot, one step at a time, my own eyes staring back, except its pupils were little spinning cursor wheels. And then it opened its mouth, not to speak, but to play something, a dial-up tone. But inside the tone was a voice, layered, familiar, robotic. "This unit is corrupted. Please return to primary data center for disposal and memory banking." I ran. The woods behind that lake didn't feel natural. Every tree was spaced evenly. The branches all curved at the exact same angle. There were no sounds, no crickets, no wind, just the click of my own feet on soil that felt like it had been poured, not grown. At some point, I stumbled into a clearing. In the center was a TV, old, boxy, cathode ray, static humming loud. Hooked up to it was a keyboard, just sitting there on a folding table. The screen read, "Final authority granted. Execute self-purge." I didn't touch it, because behind me I heard breathing, the kind that vibrates in your teeth, that smells like burnt copper and wet plastic. I turned and saw them, all of them, versions of me, some scarred, some eyeless, some with USB ports drilled into their necks. One of them was twitching like a broken puppet, eyelids blinking in binary. One was crawling without legs, dragging itself by the nails until its fingers split open and exposed keys like a keyboard hidden in flesh. They surrounded the clearing, dozens of them, all of them whispering, "Kill host, kill host, kill host." One stepped forward, its smile cracked open so wide I saw a speaker buried in its throat. It said, "Only one instance can remain conscious. Only one version can suffer." Then it lunged. The next 15 minutes were blood and hell and silicone and me screaming at myself. I fought the crawler first. I stomped its head until my foot split open, and inside its skull were wires, blue LED lights, and something that looked like a CPU fan still spinning. Another version came at me with a broken screen shoved into his chest. It showed real-time footage of me, fighting, bleeding, panicking, as if someone, somewhere, was watching this right now on a live stream. I don't even remember picking up the axe. Maybe it was always there. Maybe Engine left it for whoever survived this freak show. I started swinging, and one by one I deleted myself. Every hit felt real. Every cut into a version of me was like feeling my own nerves snap. I vomited blood between each kill. My ears were ringing with dial tones and Windows error sounds and distant emergency broadcast beeps, layered over laughing that came from nowhere, until there was only one left. The original, me, or the one who thought he was. He didn't fight. He just looked at me and whispered, "You think this is winning? Engine doesn't kill you. They make you watch." Then he smiled, and I buried the axe in his face. I limped back to the TV. The screen now read, "Upload complete. Thank you for your contribution." Then the TV turned off, and I heard every screen around the world turn on. They say it started with Times Square. People saw my face, the last frame of my consciousness, flash across every billboard in New York at exactly 3:33 a.m. No sound. Just me, half covered in blood, staring into the camera with one eye missing and static pouring from my mouth. Then came Tokyo, then Berlin, then a jumbotron at a baseball game in Chicago froze mid-inning and showed my hands ripping open my own skin and revealing something glowing inside. The worst part? People watched, and they liked it. Engine turned me into content, a human viral file, a testament to what they could do to your mind, your soul, your data. Every time someone clicked, they installed a piece of me. Every time someone remembered my story, the code recompiled. I wasn't a person anymore. I was a loop, a living digital infection. Now I show up in the edges of videos. I'm the glitch that freezes your phone for 2 seconds, the distorted face in your Zoom call thumbnail, the voice that laughs in your white noise at 4:11 a.m. when you're trying to fall asleep. I'm not trapped anymore. I'm deployed. You read this right? You let your eyes absorb the whole thing? That was the handshake, the install. Now look behind your phone, behind your mirror, under your skin. Do you feel that itch in your temple? That vibration in your molars? That's not anxiety. That's me booting up. Welcome to Engine. You are now a unit. Smile for the camera. Your broadcast begins in 3, 2, 1. End file. Killhost underscore xxv2 dot xea. Live stream. Status ongoing. Killhost underscore xxv2 dot xea. Observer count 6,948,119. Error. Subject unaware. They are already dead.